Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. Let's talk about profiles. And by that I mean paper profiles for printing photos. So as you know, papers come in many different varieties, many different types of coatings, surfaces, and requirements for ink density and the way they actually reflect the colors. Not every paper will reflect colors the same exact way. So you need a profile that will customize the way the driver, if you will, mixes the very few number of colors that you have available. Maybe 4, maybe 6, maybe 9, maybe 12, whatever. The more colors you have, the easier it is for the so-called print engine to be able to mix those little dots of color in order to be able to reproduce the millions of different tonal values and colors that the image may contain. So it's a very difficult job, so keep that in mind. The profile has to be as perfect as possible. Now, when you download a driver for a specific printer and you install that driver, profiles will also be installed in your hard drive. And those profiles, keep in mind, were made on the same printer that you have with original inks and are meant to be used with every single unit of that particular model out there. Now remember that these units are basically mass produced. They're not all individually tested. There's no way they can do that because they would have to install ink on every single printer and then calibrate them. There's no way they're going to do that. Even the Canon Pro-1000 expects you to calibrate it. They actually allow you to do that, but many other printers do not even have that option. So what happens is that the profiles that they generate for example, an EPSON P800 or the new P900, or let's just say the Pro-1000 from Canon, are made so that they sort of work fine with all of the models out there. Now, remember that the reason that they incorporate internal calibration on something as high-end as a Pro-1000 from Canon is because they realize that all of those Pro-1000s do not output identically. They differ slightly. You may not be able to see it. Depends on how accurate your vision is and how you can detect colors. But they do differ, and that's the reason they incorporate the internal calibration. That means that if I calibrate 10 Pro-1000s, their outputs will be pretty much identical. If I do not, they will not be, okay? So a profile for, say, an EPSON P800 has to be made so that it gives you acceptable results with every single P800 out there. Now, just like automobiles, some of them are lemons, some of them just barely escape, quality control, and some of them are just perfect. And you get one of those jewels in your hand and your printer, your car will run perfectly. But that happens very rarely. So we need to basically rely on custom-made profiles because you have to customize it to your particular printer. And whatever little slight differences may exist in output compared to other identical models, remember, they will differ slightly. So there are many companies that will provide you with that type of service, or you can buy a spectrophotometer either from Datacolor or from X-Rite and create your own profiles. Now there's a specific process that you have to go through. With the units that you can buy from these two companies I just mentioned, the software basically handles everything for you. You just have to follow the instructions. But the critical point always is that when you print those color patches, they have to be printed without any color management from your printer driver. So you have to make very, very sure that you go back in your driver settings and you choose either on an EPSON printer, no color management, or on a Canon printer, I believe that the term is simply none for color matching. On Windows machines, you go to color/intensity manual adjustment and then matching and then click on none. That way the driver will not interfere when it receives all of those hundreds, and in my case 1600 different patches of color. It has to print them without any color management from the driver's side of things, okay? That's very critical. If you do not do that, the resulting profile is not going to make you happy. And if you pay someone else to do it for you, you're going to be pretty disappointed. And it will not be their fault, it will be your fault. So you have to make sure that your driver is set to no color management or matching none on a Canon printer. And then you proceed to print those patches. You let them dry. You proceed to scan them with your calibrated spectrophotometer. That's very critical. You pre-calibrate that unit first so that it reads accurately. It's going to then look at each patch. Okay, and there's going to be, in my case, like I said, 1,600 patches. It's going to look at each result on paper, read it, determine how different it was reproduced on paper, and it will be. And in the case of an X-Rite i1 Pro 2 or higher, you actually see the differences as you proceed to scan. So what it will attempt to do is it will then try to correct the differences between what it received and what it outputted. In other words, this color came in and I printed it slightly different, so I need to correct that. So it creates sort of a correction curve, and then all of these patches that are read and scanned and corrected for are compiled into a profile. And I cannot even begin to explain to you what the profile is made out of, okay? I am not a color engineer, but this is what a profile does. It basically orchestrates and corrects at least 1,600 colors, and then also interpolates colors that may live in between some of those colors, because it cannot do 60 million colors. You would be at it all day long scanning. So that is it. Let me take you down to my site. And this is what you would do, as well as with anyone else's site that offers you profiles. A lot of companies that sell paper and inks will offer you free profiling. Some companies charge you. I charge you because it takes a lot of work to produce a correct profile. So here's the process that you would go through, for instance, if you were to order from me. Let me take you over to the screen and I'll show you. All right, so here is my site. And I have a link on my video descriptions. You would download this right here. It'll be 3 images, which basically are these 3 right here. 1, 2, and 3. And this is what we're dealing with, folks. It looks like that. So here are a third of the 1,600 patches. You would read each one individually, and then the software will correct for any rendition errors. In order for you to print these charts correctly, you cannot do this in Photoshop or even Lightroom. And the reason being is because these softwares will try to change the working color space on these images, and these are set a specific working color space. Now, the beauty about Qimage is that it will handle your color management automatically for you. You do not have to worry about any of the settings. Remember, before I told you how to disable color matching in a Canon printer? Well, you don't have to do that when it comes to Qimage. You just basically print your file by choosing a specific setting, and I will take you there next. So let's just say that you're going to print this on the Canon Pro-100 series printer, and the paper that you're going to then create a profile for is a semi-gloss type. It doesn't matter who makes it, just as long as you choose a matching, sort of as close as you can, surface type. So if it has a bit of gloss, it's semi-gloss. If it has more pronounced gloss, then you would choose a luster, for instance, such as that. If it's very, very glossy, then you can choose one of the Canon glossy papers, such as glossy photo paper A or regular glossy paper. And that just basically sets the characteristics of the surface. Okay, we're going to go ahead and customize to that particular paper, whether it is something from Red River or Hahnemuhle or something that basically you bought off of eBay and there's really no name to it. But you can recognize that it is either a glossy, semi-gloss, luster, or matte surface. You would choose the correct matching characteristics. So let's just choose glossy paper for this example. Now, most of these charts are size to letter size, 8.5 by 11. So we're going to go ahead and change that size to letter. And Let's go ahead and check the driver a minute. So it's giving us a bit of a warning. So we have borderless printing. We do not want that. And let's see, this is set for color matching and ICM. So this would be used if you were printing, say, an image and you want to directly print it through your driver and you're using, say, for instance, in this case, Canon paper. So you would choose a paper such as glossy photo paper, and it would automatically link that particular Canon paper to the corresponding profile. No problem there. So, but remember, we're trying to create a custom profile here. So let's leave those settings alone. With this setting, it is expecting us to print on Canon media, and it's going to do that for us automatically, the link into the installed Canon ICC profile for that Canon paper, pretty much automatically. So let's leave that alone. Let's go ahead and get out of here. We're going to print this chart. So in Qimage, you want to choose original size. This file's already been resized to fit perfectly on a letter size piece of paper. So we'll just click on that and it will load the first one. You can load them all at once if you wish. So that is all you have to do at this point. But how do we know that this file will be printed at the correct settings? Remember, we cannot alter the color space. We cannot allow the printer driver to control color, which right now it is set to do so. It is expecting to print this on glossy paper from Canon using the Canon ICC profile. We do not want that to happen. All you got to do is click on this. See, let printer driver manage color and turn it off. Once you turn it off, now look at this other warning you get. Printer driver color matching settings have been auto applied. That means that it turned off any kind of interference from the application that is printing the file, and also turned off any interference that the driver may have introduced. Let's go ahead and check that. Let's check that. It should be set to none. Remember, it was set at ICM. See that? It's set to none automatically for you. So this is a perfect way to print this, folks. If you happen to have Qimage Ultimate or Qimage One and you want to produce charts to send to me for profiling, this is the way that you can pretty much guarantee your resulting profile will be correctly rendered or produced. Any other way, you will not get what you wish to get. And it will not be my fault, it'll be on you. You need to follow these instructions. No color management on the application. Photoshop does not allow you to do that. Although there is a plugin that you can install, but why do that when you can use Qimage? And from that point on, just use it forever to print. It's the best tool out there for printing photos. Believe me. All right, so that is about it. Let me go over it really quick one more time. All your printers differ slightly. So you have to be able to create a customized profile so that your printer with that paper you're choosing to use. Oh, and here's the other catch. What if you're using someone else's inks? Then it's extremely critical that you produce custom profiles. You cannot rely on the claims from these companies that say they are OEM matched. No, they're not. No, they're not. You need to create a custom profile. Either you do it yourself or you have someone else do it for you. And when you choose to go that route, you have to be able to create those prints from those files correctly so that the resulting profile will be pretty much perfect. So remember, with Qimage, it's pretty much dummy proof. Okay, you turn off any color correction, attempt to change the color space, anything, any interference within the application by choosing off. Okay, your choices are let the printer driver do it, or you do it and you choose your own profile. This is what you will do later on, or turn it off, and that is the correct setting. As soon as you do that, the driver will be turned off. That's what Qimage does for you. Okay, it's dummy proof. You will never make a mistake of creating 3 sets of files, sending them to me or someone else, and your profile comes out wrong. Would you like to then have to reprint and resend the files? Maybe the provider will not allow you to do that. It's not his fault, right? So keep in mind that the only way to do this pretty much dummy proof is Qimage Ultimate. And then after you finish receiving your profiles, you're going to go ahead and test them also using Qimage. Okay, basically all you will do is then choose, let the application control color. It will allow you to choose your profiles for you. You assign them to that particular job and you're set. Another good thing is that Qimage remembers every print job forever. Okay, regardless of how many times you update it, that information is saved forever. You can go back to a 6 month ago job and duplicate that job using the same exact setup that you maybe spent 10 minutes working on. It will be identical, assuming that the printer is identical, the paper is identical, and also the inks are identical. So that is it. If you have any questions, ask them below. I'll be more than glad to help you comprehend this process, which again, a lot of these companies that offer these services do not tell you how to print these files correctly. They just simply don't. All right, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And until the next time, happy printing, everybody, and bye-bye.